What's up guys, it's Tommy here, and Liverpool have met with Dean Huijsen's representatives to discuss a summer transfer move. The next Virgil van Dijk, a hugely talented 19-year-old centre-back, is potentially on his way to Liverpool, and we will talk about his release clause, which he officially confirmed in a recent interview, and it's said to be £50 million, which I think is a reasonable price for a centre-back who could become as good as Van Dijk one day. He has the potential to do so, and Liverpool now just need 8 more points to confirm the Premier League title after Arsenal drew to Brentford. So Liverpool have a huge game today against West Ham. If we win that, we just need 5 more points in the last 6 games to confirm the Premier League title. So Liverpool need to beat West Ham. Let me know your score prediction down below, and if you enjoy these videos, make sure to leave a like, and I'm uploading regularly Liverpool Carry Mode episodes again, so make sure to watch them if you haven't already. And Liverpool have met with the agent of Dean Huijsen. Actually, The Athletic and David Ornstein, who is very reliable, have reported that Liverpool and other clubs are interested in Dean Huijsen, and there are 5 or 6 clubs who are circling around him. Huijsen joined Bournemouth just 1 year ago for just 15 million euros, and now his release clause is 60 million euros. And that's a reasonable price for a player whose stock has risen during this brilliant Premier League season that Bournemouth are having. But not just Liverpool, but 4 other Premier League clubs have held meetings and talks with Dean Huijsen and his representatives, and that's usual, and that's par for the course nowadays, because Dean Huijsen's agent wants to get the best contract and the best career trajectory for his client. So he will of course hear all the club's proposals that are interested in Dean Huijsen, and then he can discuss with his client, Dean Huijsen, where he wants to go and which salary he wants to choose and which career trajectory. But I think right now salary is not the most important. It's which club would give Dean Huijsen the best possible chance at playing regularly, developing and winning trophies as well. And Arne Slot is a huge fan of Dean Huijsen and his profile, and he's determined to bring him to Liverpool. However, Liverpool have stiff competition from Arsenal and European giants Real Madrid and others. And David Ornstein was recently asked in a Q&A interview at The Athletic, saying that he was asked, do you know any names of centre-backs that Liverpool are looking at for the summer? Yes, he said. I now understand Liverpool are among the clubs with a firm interest in Dean Huijsen. This has been reported elsewhere, and it's accurate. And David Ornstein has direct ties to Liverpool, direct contacts working at Liverpool. So if he says something like this, it's credible that Liverpool are indeed interested in Dean Huijsen. Chelsea have inquired, and Arsenal are in the mix as well. He said, at the moment those are perhaps the 3 leading contenders for Dean Huijsen, but not the only ones. Newcastle and Tottenham are also keen. I believe they have all held meetings, conversations with Dean Huijsen's camp in the last week, but I'm not aware of offers being made just yet, so the direction of travel remains unclear. It has been well documented that Real Madrid held great appeal for Huijsen growing up, and they do like him, but I don't know of them actively working on it, and therefore it looks more probable that Dean Huijsen will join another Premier League club. I think there is a desire on the part of Bournemouth and Dean Huijsen as well to have this situation resolved and decided as soon as possible. The £50 million release clause makes it a clean and potentially quick deal to do, which we have seen Liverpool capitalize on in the past. Remember, two years ago we bought Dominic Szoboszlai through his release clause, and it's pretty straightforward, because then you don't have to do much negotiation with the club that is selling the player. You just pay the release clause, and then you negotiate with the player quickly and directly. Maybe their consideration is influenced by the lack of development so far on Ibrahima Konaté's contract situation, and you imagine Huijsen would have a good chance of starting alongside Virgil van Dijk if he was signed. I guess Chelsea could say the same about starting besides Colwill, while you imagine similar amounts of game time would come his way at Newcastle and Tottenham. So yeah, even if he goes to Liverpool, he would get plenty of playing time because of Konaté's uncertainty around his contract. I mean, if Konate doesn't sign a contract until like the start of the season, I would actually consider selling him. I would say to Konate, either sign a new contract or you are leaving because you are not running down your contract, and leaving on a free transfer. Konate is too valuable to do that. And then, we could sell Konate for 40-50 million and get Dean Huijsen as his replacement. Arsenal is a bit trickier with Saliba and Gabriel in there. I don't think Huijsen is getting a game ahead of them. But if Kivior was to be sold, you could envisage Huijsen playing a lot as part of their centre-back unit. And from what I hear about Arteta and Andrea Berta, they are huge fans of Huijsen. I'm not sure about other names in relation to Liverpool at the moment, but suddenly, from everyone wanting a left centre-back, it's currently the right side that a lot of clubs are focusing on. In general terms, Mark Gay will definitely be one to watch in the summer, and Trevor Chalobah as well. So a lot of clubs will want to sign a centre-back in the summer, and not many like really great Premier League proven centre-backs are on the market. Huijsen, Gay, Chalobah, but Huijsen is the best of the bunch because he's so young. And he began actually his career in Spain before moving to Juventus in 2021, where Dean Huijsen impressed in the youth setup, and he made appearances for Juve as a youth team. He made his Serie A debut against AC Milan in 2023, followed by a very successful loan spell at Roma, where he continued his development and he got better and better. When he returned to Juventus, he opted for a move to the Premier League. He signed a 6-year deal with Bournemouth. And the reason why he left Juventus is the manager didn't really fancy him, and he wouldn't have gotten a lot of game time, so he wanted to go to a club where he's playing regularly every week. And Huijsen is a commanding presence in the air because he's 6'5", pretty tall, but what truly sets him apart is his technical ability and passing range. He has so much comfort on the ball in possession. He has the ability to break lines with progressive passes, and the willingness to carry the ball forward makes him a perfect fit for possession-based systems. However, I don't think right now he's ready to be like Liverpool's first choice right-sided centre-back. My preferred outcome is like sign Huijsen as the third centre-back, so play Konate and Van Dijk in the most of the games, and let Huijsen develop and learn from Van Dijk in the next year, and then, sooner or later he could become Van Dijk's successor at Liverpool. Definitely after the next 2 years, Van Dijk probably will leave, then Huijsen could step in his shoes, step in his place. And of course, Bournemouth are aware of Huijsen's stock rising every week, and they are willing to cash in on him. And I don't think Bournemouth have a good chance of finishing in the Champions League places, so they will maximum play Europa League or Conference League football, and that makes it even more likely that Bournemouth would sell Huijsen, because Huijsen is now good enough to play for a Champions League club, and a small club like Bournemouth will be selling to bigger clubs probably all the time because they can't afford to raise Huijsen's wages too much. David Ornstein also said that Liverpool could be potentially a quick deal to do for them if we pay the release clause, because Huijsen probably would choose Liverpool. Apart from Real Madrid, I don't think another club would have as much appeal as Liverpool, and I don't think Real Madrid would sign Huijsen and play him in the starting lineup. But if Real Madrid are really interested in Huijsen, it would be difficult to rival Real Madrid, because Dean Huijsen is now a Spanish international, so he would have an even bigger chance to get regular game time in the Spanish national team. Mark Douglas also said, who is close to Steven Huijsen, about his potential, that he's going to be a top class centre-back. He said, people are already saying, people around him, people who have watched him play, that they think he's going to be one of, if not the best centre-backs in the world in the coming years. And he's just 19 years old, and to have the maturity to play as well as Huijsen at just 19, the sky's the limit for him. His potential is huge. Technically, he's absolutely already there as a top centre-back. Physically, obviously, 1 year in the Premier League has really kind of given him that kind of, motivation to bulk up and to become more muscular, because the Premier League is a very physical league. I don't think any scouts have any worries about his physical presence now, and he's going to get even better as he grows and matures, as his body fills out. They sort of feel that I think he can play in that league, in the Premier League. And Dean Huijsen even showed that in the last few months. Bournemouth are having a good season, even though their form has dipped recently, but that's understandable. I mean, they are punching above their weight. And Dean Huijsen actually gave an interview to a Spanish news outlet where he actually revealed that he has a release clause, which has been confirmed by various journalists as well, and he dropped a huge hint about his future. He said in an interview with the infamous El Chiringuito TV, he discussed the details of his contract. He said, I have a contract until 2030, so 5 more years, but I do have a release clause. That he basically acknowledges that he can leave Bournemouth at any time he wants if any club pays his release clause. And when he was asked specifically about the prospect of playing for the famous Real Madrid white shirt, he said, and he didn't rule out the idea, he was diplomatic, saying, I don't know, we will see. It's a big team, every player wants to play in the highest level, in the maximum level possible. And he said, a friend called me and said, go to Real Madrid. And I laughed. What am I going to say? Of course, he just reveals that he's already thinking about his next move. And if Real Madrid seriously come calling, then he will probably go there. But if they aren't, and I don't think right now top priority for Real Madrid is signing a young centre-back, but who knows, then I think Liverpool are next in line to sign Dean Huijsen. And another expert, Gris Khan, has said that I think this is as close to as you are going to get to a no-brainer signing about Dean Huijsen. He's a monster. He's an absolute 6'4", 6'5" tall player, and he is not the most physically commanding yet, but that will come with age and maturity, filling out, growing muscles, developing in the gym. And his initial reaction about, he messaged Sam Maguire, is this true that Liverpool have met representatives? His reaction was, I'm not sure about his aerial dual success rate. We normally go for people with far higher success rates than him. That's the one weakness in Dean Huijsen's game. Even though he's very tall, his aerial dual success rate is not that high percentage-wise. Liverpool could move on either Joe Gomez or Jero Kwanzaa. I think Joe Gomez is the most likely because Jero Kwanzaa is still developing. He's very young as well, and he has a lot of potential as well. Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, Real Madrid, Tottenham, Newcastle, they are all in for Dean Huijsen. That level of interest naturally intensifies the scrutiny, but in terms of price, in terms of wage bracket, the future potential, 50 million release clause automatically gets him. I think it's a no-brainer. So this transfer story is one to keep an eye on, because if Liverpool will sign a centre-back, and I think we will, then Dean Huijsen is probably the top candidate, the number one transfer target, the number one priority. I think he could be one of the earliest signings of the season. Because of the release clause, you don't have to do a lot of negotiations. I mean, McAllister had a release clause of 35 million, and it was even done at the end of April, before McAllister signed in 2023. So that's very, very encouraging. And now let's talk about the title race, because Arsenal, after leading 1-0, dropped points against Brentford. That's their second draw in a row, second 1-1 draw in fact, and their third draw in 5 games. I told you that Arsenal won't win every single game in the run-in, and they have, of course, on one eye, potentially 2 eyes on the Champions League return leg against Real Madrid. I think Arsenal have given up the title race. They have rested Saka. He only came on for like 23 minutes at the end, and they didn't create a lot of chances. In fact, Arsenal's goal actually came from a Brentford corner when Arsenal counter-attacked, and Brentford had one defender back, and 3 attackers, 3 Arsenal players were attacking their goals. So it was a very smart counter-attack by Arsenal, but Brentford scored after set piece, Wissa with a really good goal, and now Liverpool absolutely have to beat West Ham to just calm the nerves and celebrate Mo Salah's title. And I really am looking forward to the game, and I will be covering it on my YouTube channel. After the game I will post my match analysis. Nottingham Forest also surprisingly lost to very late the Kure goal against Everton. So now Nottingham Forest are wobbling just a little bit, and if Chelsea beat Ipswich, then the top, like the 3rd place and 6th place will be just 3 points between them. And one of Nottingham Forest, Man City, Aston Villa or Chelsea will miss out on Champions League football. This race for the Champions League is the most exciting, I think, in the Premier League and the race for Europe, because the title race is not that exciting, thankfully, from a Liverpool point of view. The racing as relegation is also not that exciting. And finally, Mo Salah, most goal contributions for club and country this season with 58 goal contributions, absolutely crazy. Rafinha with 53 is second, and I think Mo Salah should win the Ballon d'Or, but because he went out early in the Champions League, he's not likely to win the Ballon d'Or. Anyway, that's it for today's video, and here are more Mo Salah statistics since he joined for Liverpool. As you can see, absolutely stupendous player, and he's well deserving of a new contract at Liverpool. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, see you later guys, good night.